Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Master and Mrs. Thank you for the chance that given to me. Now I would like to present about morphology and total flavonoid content of Clitoria ternatea at different altitudes by Lawari, Department of Agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, 11 Maret University, 2021. For introduction, Clitoria ternatea L or butterfly pea flower is one of the leguminous plants originating from tropical Asia, and now its distribution has reached South America, Africa, Brazil, North Pacific, and North America. While in Indonesia, the distribution area is mainly in Java, Sumatra, Maluku, and Sulawesi. The use of Clitoria ternatea is traditionally known as eye medicines and food coloring. However, it also has pharmacological potential as an antioxidant, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antiparasite, antidiabetic, and anti-cancer. The content of Clitoria ternatea includes tannin, pulvotannins, carbohydrates, saponin, flavonoids, and alkaloids. Clitoria ternatea plants have very high prospects, medicinal properties, and their natural properties have potential in the development of traditional medicines. But these plants have not been widely cultivated, and most of the harvesting is still derived from nature. The growth, development, and quantity of secondary metabolites plants are strongly influenced by environmental factors, one of which is altitude. Therefore, it is necessary to conduct a specific study related to morphology and flavonoid content Clitoria ternatea to be used as a cultivated plant. The purpose of this study was to examine the morphological character and content of secondary metabolites, flavonoids of Clitoria ternatea L in various habitats. Material and methods. A survey. The material used Clitoria ternatea plants surrounding vegetation and soil in its sample plots. The survey locations were selected using a purpose random sampling, namely in the lowlands is Lawean, Jayangan, and Samratulangi, and the highlands is Margoyoso. The vegetation analysis methods used in the survey is the sample plots method or the quadratic methods. The size of the sample plots are 20 times 20 meters for trees, 5 times 5 meter for shrub, and 1 times 1 meter for underplants or grass. Observation variable. The first agroecological characteristic growing place Clitoria ternatea include altitude, soil temperature, soil moisture, air temperature, air humidity, elixir intensity, and rainfall. Soil chemical characters include pH, C organic matter, total N, available pH, and soil type. And then plan morphology of observation were carried out in a descriptive way at the research location. It is roots, the stem, leaves, and flower. And the third, the analysis of vegetation at various altitude. It is plant density, relative frequency, dominance, relative dominance, and SPI, significant value index. Laboratory analysis. The material used are Clitoria ternatea, comparison quercetin, methanol, and etc. And then the research methods for testing flavonoid levels is a completely randomized design with altitude factors, namely lowlands and highlands. Then analyzed by the analysis of variance and followed by LSD 5%. Table 1, agroecological characteristic were Clitoria ternatea grow, based on the observation in Table 1 that the Clitoria ternatea plant can grow at altitudes 94 msl to 918 msal, soil temperature 25.75 degrees Celsius to 29.56 degrees Celsius. Soil moisture is 66.56% to 85.11%. Air temperature is 24.89 degrees Celsius to 28.22 degrees Celsius. Humidity is 61.33% to 80.38%, and light intensity ranks 6,000 706.89 lux meter to 18,745.663 lux meter. Is figure 1 graphs of monthly rainfall for Surakarta and Karanganyar. Table 2, a table of chemical characteristics of soil where Clitoria ternatea grow. Based on soil chemical analysis in Table 2, it shows that the Clitoria ternatea plant can grow at a neutral pH for the lowlands, 2 alkaline for the high moderately organic in the lowlands and highlands, while for high organic matter in the lowlands and plains. Furthermore, the nutrients for the lowlands and highlands are medium and low P and low K. Clitoria ternatea can grow in the lowlands to the highlands, namely for lowlands with alluvial soil types and highlands with undersoil soil types. Morphology of Clitoria ternatea. Figure 2, morphology of roots and stem, and figure 3, leaf morphology. Morphologically, the shapes of the Clitoria ternatea soup does not have a striking difference in the roots, stem, and flowers, but the differences in the morphology of the Clitoria ternatea that can be observed are these the shapes of the leaves of the Clitoria ternatea in the lowlands the highlands, namely with rounded tips and bases, while the leaves shape in the highlands is oval, pointed tips and base. Furthermore, the leaf size in the lowlands is shorter and wider than in the highlands, which are longer and narrow. Figure 4, morphology of flowers. Figure 5, morphology of food. Ternatea food in the lowlands is shorter, slightly flatter, while in the highlands it is longer and denser or contains. In the lowlands, the seed size is smaller than in the larger highlands. Table 4, analysis of grass vegetation in different habitats. Land that dominates the lowlands for the herb category area. Category are Pilea microphylla with the highest SPI value of 300%, Centosia lavacea 148.15%, while for the highlands in Aloes indica with an SPI value of 107%. The category of herbaceous plants that dominate the lowlands and highlands is Clitoria ternatea with SPI value of 193.53% and upload 300%. The three category denominants. The three category that dominates the lowlands is Syzygium paniculatum with a SPI value 117.54% and the highlands is Dipsys stetsans of 72.99%. The maximum SPI value is 300%. The higher the SPI value means the community is vegetation in area is more stable, dense, and evenly distributed so that it can describe a stable community. And the last total flavonoid content of Clitoria ternatea L. Based on figure 7, the highest flavonoid content was in the lowlands of Lawean, namely 0.493%, followed by the highlands of Nargoyoso, 0.458%, and Samratulangi 0.351%, and lowland is Jayangan 0.297%. For conclusion, the morphology of flowering plants that grow in the plants Clitoria ternatea is low in contrast to in highlands. Different morphological characteristics were found in leaf length, leaf width, foot length, and the number of seeds per foot. The flavonoid content was higher in the lowlands than in the highlands. The Clitoria ternatea is more suitable to be planted in the highlands for higher seed yields, while the Clitoria ternatea is more suitable in the lowlands for higher flavonoid yields. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.